guys, welcome back to the All About Music channel. My name is Esther, and today I'm going to be showing you all about the major key octave scale. So let's dive right in. First of all, I'd like to talk about how the major key octave scale is built. And it is made up of 7 different notes, and then you finish, the 8th note is the same note that you began with. If you're not familiar with what whole steps and half steps are on the piano, you'll want to review a previous video that I've made, and I will link that for you right up here so that you can learn more about what whole steps and half steps are. Once you know what whole steps and half steps are, it's very simple to build an octave major key scale. It goes whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. And whatever key you want to play the major key octave scale in, you just find the starting note. So if you wanted to play in the key of G major, you would find a starting note of G, and then you would follow this exact pattern to play the G major octave scale. In a few minutes, I'm going to demonstrate all 12 of the major key octave scales. Before we do that, there's one other thing that I want to address, and that is the specific fingerings for the major key octave scales. So usually the way that I teach the fingering for the major key octave scales is in 3 different groups. And the order that these scales come in is the same order as the circle of keys, which I also made a whole video on. And if you're interested in learning more about the circle of keys, I will link that video up here for you. So group 1 is made up of C, G, D, A, E major. So those 5 keys all share the same fingering. Group 2 is made up of B, F sharp, and C sharp major. Those 3 keys also share similar scale fingerings. And then group 3 is A flat, E flat, B flat. And those 3 scales also share a similar fingering. And then finally the last key, the 12th major key, is F, and that stands alone. It's actually very similar to the group 1 fingering, but a little bit different, which is why I have it standing alone on its own. So let's talk about what these fingerings are. So for the group 1 fingering, your right hand is going to follow this pattern. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you'll turn around and go down exactly the same way that you came up. So then you'll go 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. So that's the right hand fingering for the group 1 scales. Now the left hand fingering for the group 1 scales goes like this. You'll start on finger number 5 on the starting note, and then it'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Then it'll turn around and go back, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now the group 2 scales, which are B, F sharp, and C sharp major, follow a different fingering, which I like to call the black key fingering. Black key fingering works like this. In your right hand, finger number 2 always wants to be on the bottom of the black key group. So if it's the 3 black key group, it would want to always be on F sharp. If it's on the 2 black key group, it always wants to be on the bottom side or the lower side, which would be C sharp. So that's the black key fingering rule for right hand. Black key fingering rule for left hand is just the opposite. Finger number 2 in the left hand will always want to be on the top side of the black key group. So if it's on the 3 black key group, it would want to be on A sharp. If it's on this group, it would want to be on the top of the black key group, which is D sharp. So that is the black key fingering rule. And in a few minutes, I will demonstrate the B, F sharp, and C sharp scales so that you can see exactly what I'm talking about with the black key fingering rule. Finally, our group 3 scales, which are A flat, E flat, and B flat, also follow a similar fingering together. So the right hand for A flat, E flat, and B flat major also follows the black key fingering rule. Then in the left hand for A flat, E flat, B flat, your left hand is always going to start on finger number 3, and finger number 4 will play on the 4th note of the scale. So that's the rule for left hand. Now finally, let's talk about this last standalone key, F major. The fingering in the left hand of F major is the exact same as the group 1 scales. So that will be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the right hand, it's going to follow very similar but a little bit different. The right hand for the F major scale goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Usually I recommend learning right hand alone first, then left hand alone. And finally, once you've learned both hands very well separately, then go ahead and put them together. Now let's jump into a demonstration of all of the 12 major key octave scales. So for each of the octave major scales, I'm going to demonstrate the right hand and then the left hand. And then I will demonstrate one time putting the fingers together. So let's start with our group 1 scales. We are going to start with the C major scale. So remember, in the right hand, we start on finger number 1 on C, and we are going to follow 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and go backwards the exact same way that we came up. Now we're going to go to the left hand, which is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Now we're going to put them hands together. Now let's move on to the G scale. So exact same fingering. Right hand starts on finger number 1, and we'll start with a starting note of G. And remember that we're still following that exact same pattern of whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Now left hand starting on finger number 5. Now together. On to the D major scale. So we're starting on finger number 1 in the right hand, on D. And then left hand. Together. Now the A major scale. So right hand, we're going to start finger number 1 on A. Left hand starting on finger number 5 on the A. And now together. And now our final scale of the group 1 is the E major scale. So starting with the right hand, finger 1 on E. Left hand, finger 5 on E. And that is the end of our group 1 scales. Now moving on to the group 2 scales, here is where we are starting to follow the black key fingering in right hand and in left hand. So let's start with B major. Now as you see, I'm arranging my fingers so that my finger 2 is on the bottom of the black key group. Finger 1 just so happens to be starting out here on the note of B. So we go 1, 2, 3. Now thumb is going to come under to E. and finger 2 rests at the bottom of the black key group again. Now in left hand, first we want to make sure that our finger 2 is on the top side of the black key group, and that means that finger 4 is going to be our starting finger for the B in our left hand, to make sure that we're following that black key fingering rule where 2 rests on the top side of the black key group. So in left hand, the fingering goes 4, 3, 2, 1, 4 comes over, and that way your finger 2 rests on the top again. 3, 2, 1, and then back the same way you came up. 1 comes under, 2, 3, 4. Now I'll demonstrate that for you together. Now moving on to the F sharp major scale. So our starting note is F sharp, which in the right hand is finger number 2 because it is the bottom side, the lower side of the black key group. So fingering for this one goes like this. 2, 3, 4, then 1 comes under, 1 on B, and then 2 rests on the bottom side of the black key group again. 2, 3, and then 1 comes under again to E sharp, and then you finish on number 2, which again is at the bottom of the black key group. And then back the same way you came. 1, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2. Now let's move to the left hand for F sharp. So this will start on finger number 4, so that finger number 2 is on the top side of the black key group. So the fingering goes like this. 4, 3, 2, 1. Then 3 comes over, so that finger 2 again rests on the top of the black key group. And then 4. We finish on 4 because if you were to continue up the scale, finger 2 would still want to be on the top of the black key group. So we finish on 4 and then go back the same way we came. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So for the C sharp major scale, we're going to start on finger number 2 in the right hand because that's on the bottom side of the black key group. So we go like this. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then finger 1 comes under here so that we can end up on finger number 2, which again is on the bottom side of the black key group. And then we'll go back the same way that we came up. 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, and 2. And now moving to the left hand. So we want to have finger number 2 on the top side of the black key group. So we'll start on C sharp on finger number 3. So it goes 3, 2, 1, and then over to finger number 4. 3, 2, 1, and then we come over with finger number 3 and end on that. And as you see here, again, finger number 2 is on that top side of the black key group. And then go down the same way that you came up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. All right, so now moving on to the group 3 of our scales, which are A flat, E flat, and B flat. So here is where in the right hand, you're going to be following the black key fingering just like you did for the last group of scales. And then in your left hand, you'll start on finger number 3, and finger number 4 goes on the 4th note. So in the right hand, we're starting on A flat, And since we're following black key fingering, we're starting with finger number 3. So that finger number 2 is here on the bottom side of the black key group. So here's the fingering. It's 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, and then 1 here comes under again. 1, 2, and 3. Now you see here we have a G instead of G flat, but we use this fingering because it still leaves finger number 2 here at the bottom side of the black key group. And now we'll go back down the same way we came up. So 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 4, and 3. And then in the left hand now, we start on finger number 3, and finger number 4 will go over on the 4th note. So finger number 3 on A flat, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we come over to 3. And then back down the same way we came up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3. So for E flat, we're starting on finger number 3 because we're following black key fingering where the finger number 2 is on the lower side of the black key group. So 3, and then 1 comes under. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 comes under. 1, and then 2, 3. And then go back down the same way you came up. 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, and end on 3 again. Now in the left hand, again, start on finger number 3 on E flat, and finger 4 will come over on the 4th note. 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. All right, so moving on to the key of B flat major. So in right hand on B flat, we're starting on finger number 4, so that again, finger number 2 can be on the lower side of the black key group. So 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 4. And then in left hand, we're starting on finger number 3, and then finger number 4 will go on the 4th note. 3, 2, 1. Finger number 4 comes over here. 4, 3, 2, 1, 3. And then back down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And now together. All right, so finally the F major scale. The left hand is going to follow the same fingering as the left hand in the group 1 scales. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. And right hand is going to follow 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is why this scale kind of stands alone on its own, because it has a little bit different fingering than the other groups. So let's demonstrate right hand first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then back down. 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then in the left hand, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And one quick tip for when you're playing scales that are larger than a 5-finger scale, you're going to want to know how to correctly bring your thumb underneath other fingers to continue a scale, or to bring a finger over your thumb. And I'll show you exactly what I mean. So for example, in the group 1 scales, when you go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When your finger 1, your thumb repeats again, you'll need to bring it underneath the other fingers to continue in the scale. So the way that this looks is you start with finger 1 on C, and then you go 2, 3, and here's where the thumb is going to come under the other fingers. So you leave the thumb in its curved position where it's curved and curved slightly inward, and you just bring it underneath the other fingers, and there's a slight little bit of wrist motion as well that happens. So you bring it underneath finger 3, and you rest it on top of the next note, which in this case is F, and then you'll play finger 1 and bring the rest of your fingers into that next position that you're on so that they each are resting on a note. And then continue, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let me show you a little bit faster with that thumb coming under. And on the way down, you'll have to bring your finger 3 over your thumb on the way down. So I'll demonstrate that right now. So on the way down, if we're going 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now your finger 1, thumb, is still curved with that slightly inward position. And then you bring your hand over the thumb with a very small little motion. You bring 3 to the E right underneath it, the note right underneath it, and then play 3. And bring your fingers into that position, and then continue on with the scale, 2, 1. Let me show you that just one more time, coming downward so you can see that switch where the finger 3 comes over. So those are the 12 major key octave scales. I hope that was helpful for you today. If you enjoyed this video, you can go ahead and like the video down below. And you can also subscribe to my channel for weekly videos on learning the piano, learning the violin, and learning all kinds of music making tips and tricks. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.